So, hi, Kristian. Long
Hi,
time no
Sebastian.
see.
Long time no see.
Yeah, I think for a few years I have always presented a film into our program, and now this year there's another one. A film that I have to say is also very intimate and personal to me because it's about an estranged father and son relationship, and I can relate to that because I have one of those as well.
Yeah.
um, Maybe you can tell us about yourself and your film first.
Yes. My name is Kristian Håskjold, and I'm based in Copenhagen, Denmark. It's the film is called Crocodile Tears, and it's my second year of film from the Danish film school Super 16, which is like an independent film school. It's only run by us, like the 16 pupils there who studies there. Get accepted every second year, and it's there for 3 years, doing a film every year. And like you said, like it's about a Norwegian son who grew up with his mom in Norway, and it follows him this weekend where he goes to Denmark to visit his dad. Danish dad. He hasn't had a relationship with more or less his whole life. And he's invited there by his dad, so he's kind of like in this like it's kind of like him like figuring out like why is he there and like what is his dad like. And then his dad ends up like has this new girlfriend who seems way more interested in him than his dad, and it's like this kind of like solving why is like what is happening and trying to understand who this dad is, and getting close to him in some sense. And at the same time, like I feel like it's that's like briefly the story.
Yeah, of course. I have a few questions about it, of course. So of course the elephant in the room is, I think, why did you want to tell this story about an estranged father and son relationship? Is there something in your background, or how did you develop?
Yeah, like it was actually what I like. It kind of like this, like the specific story grew out of like a collaboration with me, the producer, and the writer, who all had like these different, like a bit complicated relationship with our dads. Like the producer and the writer, they're both their parents are divorced, and have like difficult relationships with their dads. And for me, it was my parents. They are still together. But so what I really wanted to explore was that that was like my fundamental idea, is that I grew up with a dad who's kind of like what do you call it, like more like a classic that a man from his worker man from his generation, who's not that good at like talking about his emotions or talking about how he feels. And I guess I really wanted to, I had this dream growing up, like at some point to have like a relationship with my parents that more than just parents and son, and actually getting to know them before it's too late. And I had this sit down with my parents a couple of years ago, where because I grew up as a kid, not really much in doubt, like I knew that my dad loved me, but I was still like uncertain about like how he actually felt about me as a person, because I felt way more emotional as a person than he is, and way more in contact with my emotions. So I wanted to explore like the two generations, the meeting between two generations, and like the experience of trying to get close to your parents and your dad, in general, because I think that can like be a hard thing, because there's always be like the very easily you'll just hit the door of like I'm your son and you're my parent, and it's hard to like to like, even as being 32 years old, I think it's still hard to like to break down that barrier, and having like a grown up to grown up relationship. And yeah, so I really wanted to try to explore that as well.
Yeah. I think you did very well, so, because the whole deal with him being the son, but also being grown up, and the father not taking part in this process at all, but still looking at him like he is this little boy.
Yeah.
I was wondering, why did you choose the crocodile as an animal?
Yeah.
That the father has like taken care of.
Yeah. Well, we just actually we were out like location scouting, and there was kind of like a brainstorm as well with in the neighborhood, and it was a brainstorm as well with the writer, like, because she knew of this place, which is like, it's like a crocodile park that's like based on the countryside of Denmark, and it apparently is the crocodile the park in Europe with the most crocodiles races of all. And we just wanted to give this dad this quirk, because he something like that's which could be some sort of like obsession, and we thought like in general like the crocodiles is an interesting animal to be obsessive about, because they're like so still, there's not like really anything happening. And we just thought like that could be like a good reflection on him as a character, like this dad that's like, well, kind of like really still in his life, and perhaps never really achieved his dreams as a young person. And we just thought that could be a really good mirror to that, because I feel like it's I feel like with like as again, when you talk about our generation and our parents' generation, I feel like we have way more opportunities growing up. Like it's easier to get access to information about things you want to where you want to take your life, regarding jobs and like career, where I feel like at least in Denmark, and I guess it's the same in Germany and Europe all around, like that. It's I feel like my dad's he was put in a situation where he had to get a job to put to feed his pregnant wife, or he could try to get an education, and like the only thing he felt like he could do and was to get the job, and he's happy about it, but it's but still it's another situation than what we experience, and I felt like that could be a good image on that. Well,
yeah, sure. I have to say I also really connected with that, because my estranged father, who unfortunately died last year, had snakes. I had to figure out.
Yeah.
You've talked about classical male father figures.
Yeah.
I found that a lot of the films this year, the short films at least, cope with toxic masculinity in some kind of way.
Yeah.
And you also told us a lot about generational conflicts.
Yeah.
Why do you think that toxic masculinity might be such a big topic for filmmakers this year, or to this time?
Well, I can imagine that like with all the big subject these years with like LGBTIQ plus and like inclusion and all that, I could imagine that it's and Me Too and all of that, like it's so present in our life right now, and I couldn't, like, me growing up, I guess it's so up in the time because it's more present now in a different way, because like I said before, and like what we talked about, like that our generation, I feel like it's more in there. It's still like a development, but I feel like there's a bigger development towards more openness regarding emotions and more feminine qualities in general, as men as well, and being able to talk more openly about that. Like I feel like there's not like you in the same way has like put on fake values to like to be accepted in as a man, or in male groups, or in society at all, like perhaps which was maybe like bigger before. So I feel like there's been a bigger like suppression of those values as men as well, earlier on. So I can imagine it's like a big like as a man, at least I feel like that's one of like the big like the what you say conflicts we have like right now, or like that you're kind of like giving up on like that there's a certain way to be a man, and like it's and there's if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand. Also, I think today is a pretty good day to talk about that, because with the
because of the election.
Yeah, sure. Because I think that is well a point for or against classical masculinity, I think.
Yeah.
Lastly, I wanted to ask you about your casting choices, especially, of course, for the son and the dad.
Yeah.
I think you did very well, because I think you can imagine that these are son and dad because they look alike, and also how they behave and act. It's in a very certain way, I think. Was it easy for you to find these two, or has it been a longer process?
Yeah, I was saying for the son, it's Ferdinand Felsen-Hies, who I worked with before in the short film Further Now, and I guess for a long time I wanted to work with him again, and he's Norwegian originally, but went to a Danish acting school, so he like learned Danish at the school, and my mom is Norwegian as well, so for a long time I really wanted to do like this language crossover between Danish and Norwegian. And so he just felt like the perfect choice for me, because he's as well like the that's another like thing about this film, that we improvised all dialogue as well. And so we only wrote like the treatment with no dialogue, and had an idea about all the scenes, and that was something I really wanted to explore as well, something I did on Forever Now, and wanted to explore that as an exercise for myself with 3 characters instead of 2. And so knew that Ferdinand was really good at that way of working, improvising on set. And regarding the dad, it was actually we had a pretty long process of figuring out who it should be, and because it's we were discussing a lot, like how old should he be, and like what type of dad is he. And the funny thing is that I just, like you said, like I felt like Lars Knudsen, who plays that, just had a really good look compared to Ferdinand. And he has, even though that he has like this like kind of classical tree man, or what you say, like a worker look, he's a really warm man who's like really funny, and I actually think he's around 80 now, so he's like also really old compared to his his role as a dad in the film, but we just felt like he had some youthfulness to him, even though and then we also just thought it was interesting with a man that just seemed older. Like it was kind of like you could, as a viewer, think about like, is it like because of his age? Is it could be a disease, or is it his like last chance to like talk to his son, or like to reflect on these things? Yeah. So I felt and as well, like I felt Lars was good at improvising as well, and it just makes a difference when you're working that way.
Yeah, sure. So how long did you shoot the film for?
Yeah, I think we shot it over 5 or 6 days.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's also, like you said, now that you again said it, it's all improvised again.
Yeah.
You can feel it somehow because it seems unfamiliar in a way, but also spontaneous, like the situation would be in real life. So I think that's another good point for the film.
Yeah.
So I think time-wise we are okay. Is there something you want to tell to the audience further than that?
I can just like 2 small things. Like I could say that it was an interesting film to do, because it was, I think, like what I learned from doing this film compared to Forever Now, where was that Forever Now, like working with improv in this way, like that Forever Now, it was a breakup film. It's about like a young couple who breaks up and spends a weekend together. And that film, the drama was so present in the storyline. So it was really easy to create the drama for the film, where what was both interesting but also difficult doing this film was that it's all about like a son, like the drama is in the past, like it's about a son who meets his dad who wasn't there, and that was like improvising the scenes over that, and like trying to find the drama was really difficult, but it was really interesting difficulty as well. Like it's like that's like exploration to figure out like what are the scenes about, and like how do we bring out like this drama between the characters was an interesting experience as well. And then I don't know, lastly I can say that I'm just wrapping up my final school film these months, and it's so hopefully I will my plan is to send it into the next festival next year.
Yeah, please do. Sure.
And yeah, I'm really happy about that as well, and really happy to hear what people think about it, and hopefully there's no corona back to that time. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, of course. And I want to thank you for this film and for all your films and the next one as well. Yeah. And thank you and goodbye, I guess. Yeah, thank you, and good to talk to you. Yeah, sure.